the classic .22 long rifle. There is just something timeless about it. Despite being well over a century old and facing a constant barrage of competition from newer, more powerful Rimfire cartridges, the humble .22 long rifle still holds its place as a favorite for plinking, for varmint control, and for building fundamental shooting skills. The ammunition is cheap, the recoil is basically non-existent, and these firearms are just plain fun to shoot. But here is the thing. A lot of shooters do not realize just how much hidden potential this little round actually has. In this analysis, we are going to dive into the deeper side of .22 long rifle performance, the kind of stuff that most folks tend to overlook, from optimal barrel lengths to the ideal twist rates, and why the specific type of ammunition you load into your firearm can make a huge difference. We are going to help you unlock everything that your .22 long rifle is capable of. So, kick back, grab your favorite drink, and stick with us. This one is for the die-hard shooters who want to get the absolute most out of their gear. Let's break down what most people are not telling you about the .22 long rifle. There are not many calibers out there that can match the .22 long rifle in terms of its pure versatility. It is budget-friendly, it is incredibly easy to shoot, and it is surprisingly capable across a wide variety of tasks. Whether you are knocking down tin cans at the local range or you are out in the woods chasing squirrels and rabbits, this cartridge can handle it all. And with the right load, it can even punch well above its weight class, and that is no exaggeration. Case in point, back in 1953, a 63-year-old Cree woman named Bella Twin made history near Slave Lake, Alberta, when she brought down a massive grizzly bear using nothing more than a single-shot .22 rifle. That is right, a single-shot, bolt-action .22 Cooey Ace-1, duct tape, and all. Bella waited until the bear was dangerously close, and then she calmly placed a single shot directly into its skull. It dropped on the spot. No gimmicks, just nerves of steel, sharp instincts, and absolute precision under pressure. Now let's get something straight. That does not mean that you should treat a .22 long rifle as your go-to bear defense rifle. That shot was the exception, not the rule. The .22 long rifle was built for small game and for training, not for stopping apex predators. Trying something like that intentionally would not only be foolish, but it could also get you into some serious legal trouble, depending on where you are. So, while stories like Bella Twin's are absolutely fascinating, and they highlight what this cartridge can do in the right hands, it is important to remember to use your .22 where it truly excels. Out in the field, nailing targets, or sharpening your skills. Because when it comes to practicality, fun, and cost-effective shooting, there is still nothing quite like the .22 long rifle. When it comes to sharpening your shooting fundamentals, few things can beat the .22 long rifle at the range. It is an incredibly cost-effective way to train, letting you practice your skills without draining your wallet. And for casual shooting, like plinking, there is just something deeply satisfying about lining up those tin cans and knocking them down, one by one. But here is what might catch some folks off guard. Despite decades of progress in ammunition design and firearms technology, the .22 long rifle still has not been replaced. You would think that something newer, faster, or flashier would have taken its place by now. But no. While other calibers may offer more power, they rarely, if ever, match the .22's unique blend of low cost, usability, and well-rounded performance. This round does not need to be flashy. It is already a classic for a reason. Now let's not forget the firearms that chamber it. Rifles like the Ruger 10/22, the Marlin Model 60, and the Savage Model 64 have become legends in their own right. They are reliable, they are easy to operate, and they are endlessly fun, and they have earned their place in gun safes all across the country. Whether you are an experienced shooter or you are picking up a rifle for the very first time, these models consistently deliver solid results. Of course, not everyone is a fan of the .22 long rifle. Some will claim that it is too outdated or too underpowered to be taken seriously. But that kind of criticism misses the point entirely. This is not a round that was built for overkill. It is a round that absolutely nails the job that it was designed to do. And until something else can hit targets, train new shooters, and bag small game with this same level of efficiency, the .22 long rifle is not going anywhere. That being said, Not every .22 rifle is created equal, and one of the biggest factors that affects their performance is the barrel length. It is a detail that many shooters tend to overlook, but it makes a huge difference with this particular cartridge. The optimal barrel length for the .22 long rifle falls somewhere between 16 and 18 inches. That range gives you the best balance of speed, stability, and overall ballistic performance. While shorter barrels are certainly lighter and handier, they do not give the powder enough time to burn completely, which cuts down on your velocity and your energy. They are great for backyard plinking, for sure, but they are not ideal for achieving tight groups or for reliable hunting accuracy. On the other end of the spectrum, stretching the barrel out past 18 inches might seem like a good idea, but it can actually work against you. The extra length adds friction, and since the .22 long rifle generates a relatively low amount of pressure, that additional drag can actually slow the bullet down. Once that pressure has done its job, any more barrel just means more resistance, and that can hurt your performance rather than helping it. So, while those long barrels may look like they are ready for precision work, in the case of the .22 long rifle, they can actually be a drawback. Now, there is this popular belief that a longer barrel automatically means better accuracy, and while that might ring true for certain high-powered calibers, the .22 long rifle does not follow those same rules. This cartridge does not need feet of rifling to do its job. It just needs enough barrel to build up the proper velocity and to burn the powder efficiently. Stretching the barrel out past that sweet spot might seem like a smart move, but in reality, it only adds unnecessary bulk and makes the rifle less agile. So, what is the verdict? For optimal performance and flexibility, you are best off with a barrel in that 16 to 18 inch range. That will give you the ideal handling for everything from range work to small game hunting. If you want something more compact, sure, a shorter barrel is fine for close quarters work, but just be prepared to give up a bit of velocity in return. But the barrel length is just one piece of what makes a .22 long rifle really perform. Another crucial factor is the barrel's twist rate. That is how fast the rifling inside the barrel spins the bullet. It might sound like a minor detail, but it can seriously influence your rifle's accuracy. Here is how it works. A twist rate like 1 in 16 means that the rifling will complete one full turn every 16 inches of barrel length. That spin is what keeps your bullet stable in flight, preventing it from tumbling and veering off course. Most .22 long rifles come with a 1 in 16 twist rate for a very good reason. It works exceptionally well with the standard 30 to 40 grain bullets, which are the bread and butter of .22 long rifle shooting. Whether you are plinking cans, zeroing in on targets, or bagging small game, this twist rate delivers solid, consistent performance. But here is where things can get a bit more technical. Not all .22 long rifle ammunition behaves the same way. Subsonic rounds, which are typically heavier and move a lot slower, can benefit from a tighter twist rate, something like a 1 in 12, to keep them stable. Meanwhile, the ultralight high-velocity rounds often prefer a slower twist rate. If your barrel's twist rate does not match the type of bullet you are using, your groups can suffer. The bullets might yaw or even keyhole, which will completely ruin your accuracy. So, if you are planning to branch out beyond the standard loads, it pays to know your rifle's twist rate and to match it to your ammunition. It is not just about the numbers on the box. It is about getting your rifle to perform at its absolute peak. Using mismatched ammunition means more missed shots and a lot more frustration. But when your twist rate and your bullet weight are in sync, every single shot will feel like it is right on point. Even with the perfect twist rate and the ideal barrel length, there is still one more wild card in the .22 long rifle equation, something that can trip up even the most seasoned shooters: the Rimfire ignition system. Unlike centerfire cartridges that use a primer that is located in the middle of the casehead, Rimfire rounds ignite when the firing pin strikes the rim of the cartridge. It is a smart, cost-effective design, but it is not without its flaws. One of the biggest problems is inconsistent primer spread. With cheap or poorly made ammunition, the priming compound might not be distributed evenly around the inside of the rim, and that can lead to a weak ignition, or worse, a complete misfire. And if you are using an older rifle with a worn-out firing pin or a weak hammer spring, those issues will only become more frequent. Misfires are not just an annoyance, they can interrupt your rhythm and waste your time. especially in a hunting or a timed shooting scenario. You chamber a round, you pull the trigger, and nothing happens. Now you are manually ejecting a dud and wondering if the next one is going to go off. Even top-tier ammunition is not completely immune to the occasional failure, but it happens a lot less often with the trusted brands. And that is why investing in quality ammunition is almost always worth it. Also, regular upkeep of your rifle, especially the firing pin and the chamber, can prevent a lot of these problems. Keep your bolt clean, make sure your firing pin is not worn down, and check for any grime or buildup in the chamber that could affect the performance. Still, no matter how well you prep, rimfire systems will always have their limitations. It is part of the trade-off for the affordability of the .22 long rifle. You save on the cost, but every once in a while, you are going to pull the trigger and hear nothing. If you thought the rimfire ignition system was the only oddity you would run into with the .22 long rifle, think again. Let's talk about another major factor: ammunition sensitivity. Now, this is not something that is exclusive to rimfires, but with the .22 long rifle, it plays a much bigger role, especially in the semi-automatic platforms. The root of the issue lies in the gas pressure. For a semi-auto to cycle properly, it needs enough force from the fired round to push the bolt back, eject the spent case, and then chamber a new one. And that is great, when everything works. But when you are using underpowered rounds, like subsonics, you might find that the action will short cycle or fail to eject entirely. And nothing kills the rhythm of a range session faster than constant jams and misfeeds. This is where the bolt-action rifles really shine. Because they are manually operated, they are completely immune to the cycling demands that the semi-autos face. Whether you are shooting quiet subsonics or standard velocity rounds, the bolt actions will just keep on working. They are a fantastic choice for scenarios where silence and precision are more important than speed, like when you are hunting small game or dialing in some tight groups at the range. So, how do you choose between a semi-auto and a bolt gun? It all depends on your priorities. If you want quick follow-up shots and you do not mind sticking to ammunition that has enough punch to cycle reliably, then a semi-auto like the Ruger 1022 is very hard to beat. But if you value flexibility and reliability with all types of ammunition, especially the lower-powered or the specialty rounds, then something like a Savage Mark II bolt action is likely a much better fit. One thing to keep in mind is that even rifles of the same make and model can behave differently with certain ammunition. What feeds flawlessly in one rifle might choke in another. So, it is always worth it to test out a few different loads and brands until you find the perfect match for your particular gun. And for you bolt-action users, this freedom to experiment is a big bonus, as it allows you to tailor your setup to the exact demands of your shooting situation. And that brings us to another important subject: range and effective distance. The .22 long rifle, as efficient as it is, was not built for long-range engagements. Its lightweight design and its modest velocity make it ideal for short-range work. But as soon as you start pushing it past about 100 yards, things can start to get a bit tricky. Gravity becomes a much bigger factor, causing the bullet to drop significantly over that distance. Beyond 150 yards, you will find that making accurate shots requires some real skill and some very precise elevation adjustments. This is not the kind of round that you can just point and shoot at long range. And then there is the wind. The .22 long rifle is extremely susceptible to crosswinds due to its low weight and its limited energy. A light breeze that would not even move a heavier center-fire bullet can shift a .22 round by several inches or even more off course. It is humbling for sure, but it also adds a new layer of challenge that many shooters actually enjoy. At that point, you are not just shooting, you are learning to read the environment and to adapt to it. So, what is the workaround? You can start with a proper zero. If most of your shots are going to happen between 50 and 70 yards, then sighting your rifle in at that distance will give you the most usable point of aim. This will give you a solid foundation to work from and will let you stay on target within the cartridge's optimal range. But if you want to push beyond that, you will need to learn how to account for that wind and that drop. Practice estimating how far your bullet is going to drift. Understand your holdovers, and do not be afraid to adjust your sights as you need to. Long-range shooting with a .22 long rifle is all about mastering its limitations, not expecting it to perform like a centerfire, but learning how to stretch its capabilities with your own skill. In the end, not every .22 long rifle is built the same. Some of them are made for precision work, while others are better suited for laid-back plinking sessions. Knowing your rifle's purpose and respecting its limits is the key to getting the most out of it. Let me know what you think of this deep dive into the .22 long rifle down in the comments below. What are some of the things that you've learned about this classic cartridge over the years? If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more in-depth content on the firearms we all know and love, and share this with a fellow shooter who might appreciate it. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the range.